Hello, hello. Yay, it is Friday. Who's with me today? Let me check Facebook. I am so excited to be here with you. It's been a week. It has been so much fun though. It's been so much fun to connect with each and every one of you. I've had some connect calls with some of you, which has been amazing to get to hear what's been going on with you personally and what your symptoms are, how we can navigate those and the path ahead. And that is what is so important about these weeks of us spending time together, is that you just collect that knowledge so you feel like you are empowered to really move forward in your health and wellness journey. Whether you are already in our program, whether you're just starting, whether we're having that connect call, I feel like this has been a blessing for me and you and all of us, because this is a journey, okay? It is not a sprint. We are not in a if you're in a 4-month program, if you're in a 6-month program, I have to tell you that you are going to get the most amazing results. You're going to feel phenomenal at the end, but you're going to have to keep going, okay? So this is a group, like I mentioned, of community where you can come back. And even for myself, who's been in this journey for years, okay, years, these are always reminders for me. Someone sent me a message and said, do you think I'll, get something out of the workshop? Should I attend the workshop? I'm like, I always attend, if I can, right? And then when I'm walking or running by myself, and then I put something on podcast and I listen to these things that I miss, because it's always a reminder to me to keep moving forward. And I always pick up on something I didn't pick up the first time. So that's kind of like going to church, right? My son the other day, he goes to a private Christian school here locally. And he goes, I said, why don't you want to go to Sunday night? And he goes, they're just repeating the same thing that I've heard before. And I'm like, well, you go to church like every Sunday morning in service, like surely to goodness you're hearing things on repeat there too, because we all do, right? And I brought up Easter Sunday for him. Easter Sunday is and Christmas Eve, they're one of the most attended church times, but it's very similar services, right? So we're not going because we've heard the message before. We're going because we always pick up on something that we haven't picked up on before. And it's always a reminder. And it's, it holds us accountability. It's an accountability factor. So your health journey is the same way. It is the exact same way. And we have to look at it on a day-to-day basis on how we can move ourselves forward. So I want to kind of go back through some things that we've talked about this week. So the first thing I want to mention is I brought up that bucket factor. And if you missed that, it is just important enough for me to go back over it today, because today I'm going to stress as to why this holistic view is so important. Why is it so important for us to look at our health and wellness, not only from an exercise standpoint and a movement standpoint, but from sleep and from our hormones and from our immune system and our gut health and our brain health and our mood and our respiratory, the whole bit, right? This holistic viewpoint. And when I talked about the bucket factor and what's causing our body to explode, and when I think about the explosion, these are like those first, like the top 5 items in your health journey that are just driving you crazy. So is it food sensitivities? Is it weight? Is it diarrhea? Is it constipation? Like, what are those symptoms that you consider to be the explosive point when you're like, God, this is annoying. Like, enough is enough. Why am I always fatigued? Why am I always tired? Why am I always in a bad mood that week before my cycle? Why am I always cramping? And let me tell you, if you're starting your cycle with any other evidence other than you go to the bathroom, you wipe, there's a little bit of blood on toilet paper, then you have abnormal symptoms. So what is it for you? Put down in the comment section. Let me see. I'm so sorry if anybody's on Zoom. Okay, let me make sure. I just had that kind of aha moment. If anybody was waiting on Zoom for me, I hate that feeling of left them in the waiting room. Okay, so put down in the comment section, what is that explosive moment for you when you're like, enough is enough. I'm not going to handle this anymore. I'm just not going to fight it. But inside that bucket could have started with I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Childhood immunizations, the day we were born, like we're gonna start, like that chain reaction starts. I've seen it in kids. I've seen it. I have a dear friend of mine that the moment her son was given a vaccine, they were headed off to the emergency room. Like it was a severe change, a severe reaction. Now, I am going to sit here and tell you that I pray that you have not had that type of reaction, because it is very scary. Our reaction was not even that like profound, but when I realized that the reaction that was causing a lot of trouble in my son's body was a reaction to the chickenpox vaccine. Now, one thing I've also talked about this week is for you to look at cause, effect, look at that risk analysis, okay? When his reaction was to the chickenpox vaccine, do you know how many times over the last 10 years I would have much rather him have 1 week of the chickenpox virus like I did, like my mother did, like my daddy did, right? Rather than having to fight this reaction that triggered his immune system in such a negative way that we have fought it for years. And then, so we've got to look at like everything in that bucket. And I'm going to kind of get off of that soapbox, but it could be, antibiotics that we had to take. I know, like, even from a young age, we combat RSV with a lot of antibiotics, and those liquid medicines that we are given are so full of corn syrup, so full of dyes. The pink deliciousness of amoxicillin is not because amoxicillin tastes great. It's because it's so gritty. There's so much sugar in it. And if your body is already in a state of gut dysbiosis and, bacteria imbalance, and then we're feeding it with all this sugar on top, as well as the dyes, as well as the corn syrups, we're just feeding a nasty mess, right? So we've got stress in that bucket. We have pregnancies in that bucket. I spoke to someone earlier, and in that, when we have a pregnancy, it's beautiful, but whether we have hormone imbalances that are natural, whether we have them through pregnancy, whether we have PCOS, estrogen surges can increase our intolerance to histamines. They can increase our intolerance to foods, and any type of weight gain can cause fatty tissue also can cause our body to have more triggers. So we have these situations in life, not that they're all avoidable, but we have them where we need to be aware of what our toxic load is, what our bucket looks like. I mentioned to you on Wednesday that we took a trip to Nashville to see a doctor up there, and we ate on the road, and I actually opted for grapes over the greens, or fruit over the greens that morning. One, because it was morning, but two, because I know as I'm coming into my cycle time that grapes help your body produce DAO, which helps the body combat histamines. Okay, so we can also look at foods and say, how am I feeling today? That is that intuitive eating we mentioned yesterday, knowing when to serve your body what and how to nourish your system. Okay, now today I'm going to talk about the holistic viewpoint of getting the crap out in order to have ultimate success. I am not a patient person at all. I've always prayed for that patience. And one thing is because I have a very project management background. After nursing school, I went back and got my MBA, and then I got a master's in project management. And in project management, we look at risk, we look at efficiencies, like how to be efficient, how to get really good results in the shortest amount of time. And that's how I've built my program. I want you to get the best results in this short amount of time, so then you can move forward with just so much success. But the other reason we want to do that is because if you're not getting success, then don't have anything to rely back on to stay motivated. right? So we've got to have daily success to stay motivated. We can easily like pull back and have like a pity party day and say, oh, I really like bombed this. I went and had ice cream with my daughter. But you know what? If you look at the big picture and that you were able to have ice cream with your daughter, where you were able to enjoy that social moment, you were able to build those memories. And I had that conversation with a client recently who went on vacation to visit her kids. And her kids ended up taking her to a concert. I mean, how stinking fun, right? You can just go and live your life and have the energy to do so. And she's like, we ate, like we're not able to eat clean the whole time. I'm like, hey girl, you built the most amazing memories. So you want to be able to focus on the positive while having that holistic viewpoint and coming back to reality but staying motivated. Okay. So in this holistic viewpoint, there's a few things in the program that I feel are non-negotiables, okay, and that we look at as we go throughout the program. And one is that we focus on detoxification as it relates to autoimmune health, okay? Detoxification is the body's natural process of removing toxins from our body, waste products. If you are not pooping, then where in the heck are those toxins going? That is the number one thing. We have to get you pooping, and we have to get you pooping without added toxins, okay, without added medication, because a lot of those medications are going to contain citric acid and mold and corn, even cornstarch, but they're going to contain some toxins on top of the good, you know, so we've got to get your body detoxing and pooping naturally. Your detoxification pathways primarily occur through the liver and the kidneys, the digestive system, your skin. What rashes, what acne, what is going on with your detoxification, okay? And the role that it plays in autoimmune health is so important. Proper detoxification is essential for maintaining a balanced immune system. Okay, it's essential. I've heard from clients before, I took birth control pills and then I started to have stomach problems, and then I started to have SIBO, and then I started to have candida, and it's just a spiral spin. It starts somewhere, but the birth control, the increased levels of estrogen, and our detoxification pathways, our liver was created to detox a certain amount of hormones, and when we play around with that, we also mess up our natural body processes. So when detoxification process is compromised, when we mess it up, right, toxins then can accumulate and potentially trigger the autoimmune responses. All right, so what toxic levels, like as we've spoken this week about ingredients, as we've spoken about food, as we've spoken about what to eat, what toxicity levels, what toxins have, like, what's been an aha moment for you? I mean, I even heard from someone, I love my candles, and and I love, and that could have been that aha moment for you, right? So what is it that you're currently doing that you feel that you can make small changes now and start clearing that toxic load? Remember, it's the bucket, not a perfection mindset. Now, and that means we're not going to try and be perfect tomorrow, but a year from now, if I come into your house and see some toxins in there, I'm gonna be like, girl, you were not serious. Like, you were not completely serious. I will say, and I just had this moment of when people be like, oh, you're so hypocritical. I will tell you, my 14-year-old right now has a few toxins in her room, but I also want to tell you as a mother what I do. And you're gonna think I'm crazy, but when she leaves for school, so like her hairspray, like she loves to like do the wand and curl her hair, and her dry shampoo. We've tried, I use a dry shampoo that is not aerosol, so I don't have the fragrance and stuff, but she uses one that she has fallen in love with and used at a friend's house. But what I do when she leaves and goes to school is I go in and I open all of her windows, and I cut her ceiling fan on. I give her a clean slate when she comes home from school, right? And she's not going to sleep in it. So if she uses those products in the morning, and then I, filter out her bedroom during the day, then, and we're still making a conscious effort. So that's what I mean. I don't want to be this hypocritical nutrition coach with you and tell you that all of our life is 100% perfect. It's absolutely not. But we learn to do what we can, right? So supporting detoxification. Let's talk about how you can support your body in detoxification. I just told you one, right? Opening windows when you can. The weather outside is amazing right now. We're coming into the fall season. I put my sweatshirt on this morning, and sorry for just being very casual with you today, but it's Friday, and I love Fridays, and I love casual, and I love just the mindset of being able to spend this time with my family over the weekend. So, and having my kids home. I'd have my kids home if someone else would come into my home and homeschool them. Is anybody else with me? I don't want to homeschool my kids. Okay, so supporting detoxification. Hydration, water. You've heard it until you're blue in the face. So I don't want to beat it down, but water is so critical. And I am not talking about your hydration drinks. I'm not talking about vitamin water. I'm not talking about Gatorade. I'm not talking about liquid IV. I actually went through some liquid IV ingredients earlier in the week. So if you missed that, I think that was on Wednesday. So if you are drinking something, you need to make sure it's pure. You need to make sure it's healthy. If it's got some added pH in it, that's awesome and it's amazing. If it's alkaline water, that's even better. Just do not fall into the trap of all the additives right now and all the toxins. It can be extremely overwhelming. Okay, antioxidant rich foods. We have gone through these. I talked about antioxidants earlier in the week. I talked about free radicals. I talked about reducing oxidative stress, and these antioxidants help reduce oxidative stress in the body. It helps to neutralize that, and it's so important. So we talked about all the berries, all the fruits, all the vegetables, the herbs. So we need antioxidants to help our body. All right, loving your liver. Love your liver. So liver support is one way of just making sure that our body is detoxifying. A lot of clients come to me already having their gallbladder removed, and that gallbladder and the liver supporting digestion is so important. It's absolutely necessary. If you are on the edge of getting your gallbladder taken out, all I have to say is please give me 3 months. That's how I got my husband to keep his gallbladder. Actually, his doctor had told him he needed to have that removed. And I said, give me 3 months and let's reevaluate. Okay, so a well-functioning liver is the central part of detoxification. The standard American diet and the added hormones in our society right now have left our bodies in a non-alcoholic fatty liver state. Okay, so many people are coming down with now non-alcoholic fatty liver. I have a list of additives to our food. Again, that standard American processed diet, and a list of additives in our food that contribute to non-alcoholic fatty liver. So we need to make sure that we are consuming foods that support liver detoxification, such as beets, dandelion greens, and you can even get those in a form of a tea if you like a hot tea. And then milk thistle. I love using milk thistle and glutathione too. Just cannot mention those enough. If you need recommendations on brands, because again, I mentioned a lot of brands are full of toxins. And so if you need recommendations, let me know. I actually have a database of completely clean ingredient supplements that can support your body. All right, so healthcare supervision, obviously, someone who can help you. I'm more than happy to help. I love liver detoxification. Absolutely love it because I know it's so essential for our overall holistic health. But you want to make sure that it's done safe and effective. All right, you may think, okay, what does that mean? Not only supporting the liver, but there is a process of detoxification and elimination that has to be done together. If you're detoxifying and you're not eliminating, then those toxins are reabsorbing into the cells of our body. You have to make sure you're detoxing, you're binding, you're eliminating, and it's done safely and effectively. And that's why I feel it's really important to work through a program that gives you all those steps through detoxification. Now, do not fall into the trap of myths and misconceptions of extreme fasting and juicing and, colon cleanses. Sometimes it can, even the colon cleanses can cause more harm than good. It's a lot of stress on our bodies, and there's really no balance around those programs. So just be really careful about that. So there is a link between liver health and autoimmune conditions. The liver, again, like I said, plays a very, very important role in detoxification. It also helps our body process nutrients. That is one of the next phases after detoxification and working through the program as we focus on absorption, okay? Making sure our immune system has the absorption, has the nutrients that it needs. And the liver is critically involved in processing those nutrients. So it also metabolizes medications. If our body is not working through that proper metabolizing, and there are times when I do feel that like you're going to need a medication, there's chronic illnesses and acute illnesses. And if you go and break an arm and need to have arm surgery, you need your liver detoxifying and you need that metabolism of medications to be working appropriately. Do not feel like you don't want to be ultimately overstressed when you're going into an operation. And I'm actually going to be giving y'all that example soon. I need to have surgery on my elbow. I've overworked it, over torn ligaments in it. It's just a mess, hot mess. I'm speaking from the heart with that, is we've got to make sure that those liver pathways stay open. The autoimmune connection is that the liver health and the autoimmune system, okay, a poor functioning liver, if our liver leads to an accumulation of toxins, so if it's not properly detoxifying and it leads to accumulation of toxins, then we have increased inflammation even around the liver, okay? We've got increased inflammation and it exacerbates the autoimmune system. It's causing, when I mentioned to you earlier, okay, that bee sting. If the bee comes in and stings your hand and your hand swells, that inflammation opens up and sends a signal to the body. It says, hey, immune system, we need you to come in and work. Okay, we need you to come in and work and get rid of this poison that the bee put in my hand. Okay, this is a very localized example, but now imagine this is your liver, okay? And the toxins come in, and cause inflammation. And then with that inflammation, it sends a natural signal to our body that says, hey, immune system, you need to come in and work. Now, if that's happening all over your body with triggers, with inflammation, the immune system's overworking, okay? This is how we get into the autoimmune state. I hope that simple example can help you visualize what's going on on your body, because most of us have visualized a situation where we've had an ant sting, a bee sting, or something. And the inflammation is the natural body process to tell the immune system, hey, I need you to come in and work, okay? So if we're exacerbating the autoimmune process, the immune system process, it is going to start overfiring and it's going to backfire on us because we are causing it to work too much. If you overwork somebody, even in your office, your work office, what is it? It's going to backfire on you. Eventually they're going to leave. They're going to stop working. Okay. Our body does the same thing. All right. So support your liver health with a balanced diet and fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, limiting the processed foods, the processed sugar, and alcohol consumption. Okay. There's, moderation to everything is extremely important. You can eat foods such as garlic and onions. Now, if you can't eat nightshades, you cannot have the garlic and the onions. Turmeric, which is really good to support liver health, but I also gave you some earlier when I talked about milk thistle for detoxification. those ways of supporting detoxification of the liver. And it's, really important for us to make sure that we monitor our liver health. It's not something we need to focus on today and then stop focusing on. It is a critical part of our health journey. So digestive health, okay, so the gut and the immune connection, I cannot stress enough. And this is typically where people start to pay attention, is when their gut health is compromised. But there's a strong connection between both gut health and the immune system. The gut houses the significant portion of our immune system. Okay, so if the gut isn't imbalanced, your immune system is not either, and it's triggering autoimmune responses. So think about intestinal permeability. So when I went to nursing school, it's called intestinal permeability. In functional medicine, they abbreviate that or shorten it or try to simplify it by saying leaky gut. Okay, so if you're talking Western terms with your Western medical terms with your doctor, I recommend that you mention intestinal permeability. If you say leaky gut, they're going to go, oh, she's been reading all this functional medicine stuff. But anyway, it's the same thing. We just need to make sure that they merge together and that one doesn't have to be right and the other have to be wrong. That's kind of like, I hate that mentality that our society is in right now. Okay. So intestinal permeability or leaky gut, it allows undigested food particles and toxins to enter into our bloodstream. Okay. And these toxins in the bloodstream, these undigested food particles in the bloodstream, they cause food sensitivities to increase and increase and increase. The more this happens, the more we have leaky gut, the more it's overflowing into our bloodstream, and it's aggravating the immune system, causing autoimmune conditions. Okay, visualize that. Here we go. I'm going to tell you, this is your intestines. It's round. It's supposed to be tight. You're supposed to have tight junctions of the immune system. Okay. When you have leaky gut and inflammation, and I'm going to give you also a visualization of how I visualize that it happens. Okay, so inflammation, what do? We blow up that balloon, it gets big, and then it comes back together. We blow up that balloon, it gets big, it comes back together. Eventually, your balloon has parts that you can see through, because you can see spit in that balloon, right? So think about yourself blowing up the balloon. It's deflated. Now it's got these parts that you can see through, and it starts to get leaky and leaky and leaky. It doesn't always go back to its original form. Right here, you have leaky gut and you have particles leaking through. This also happens with candida. It happens with the because that is a fungal form of yeast, and candida and bacteria, they actually grow roots and puncture holes through our intestines, and that also causes leaky gut. Okay, so we have to really focus on leaky gut. We support the digestive system with, I will just tell you, with whatever food your body needs. This is the most personalized area of support. I can give you like the generics of, a lot of times they recommend that we support with fiber, but not all of my clients can effectively eat fiber. Some people eat fiber to loosen stools, but what does it do? It causes more constipation. Some people eat fruits and vegetables and they have a negative reaction, because if they're higher in sugar and they're battling candida and bacteria, it's not the right thing for them. Probiotics and prebiotics are talked about a lot, but what if you're feeding the good and the bad bacteria? It can really come back to haunt you. What if your probiotic has milk? Have you ever looked to see? I know many of my clients come into the program and they're like, is this probiotic good? I'm like, I don't know, because there's a lot of milk in there. So we've got to see if you are supporting good bacteria, bad bacteria, where do we need to start? And if you need a prebiotic and an enzyme, if there's acid imbalance, then we also get very personalized with that. Food sensitivity awareness is key. It is key. If you're continuing to eat food that cause that inflammation, we're not going to make the success that I talked about with efficiency. Okay, so we have to focus on that. And then we look at overall gut healing protocols to heal the lining of the intestines. Now, the intestines being inflamed, the intestines being broken down, often does cause celiac, it causes mast cell, it causes, a lot of gut problems, exacerbate those conditions. So I often say, what came first? It's hard to tell, but if you have leaky gut from, overuse of medication, or, having a reaction to some additives in a vaccine, or additives of the standard American diet in our processed foods, then that could have exacerbated and led to a celiac diagnosis. We can't always focus on a diagnosis as that end all be all. We've got to look at the overall big picture. So really moving beyond that diagnosis and looking at viral components, leaky gut, the bacteria, and the overall imbalances. So many of you, I'm right at 12:30, but I'm going to talk real quick about hormones, okay? Hormones and autoimmune health, because I want to value everybody that's shown up this week. And I have seen a lot of comments from people that I know are focused on hormones. So I'm going to spend a few minutes on it really quick. And because I have mentioned estrogen so many times, but I also need to mention the adrenal system, the cortisol, and why we test for all of that. So the hormone influence to the autoimmune system is strong. Cortisol, which is our stress hormone, so it's affected through our stress response. It helps us fight the bear, okay? But cortisol can affect the immune function and contribute to autoimmune conditions. That's why so many people say, have you encountered a stressful situation? Did you go through divorce? Did you have a death in the family? Were there stressful situations at the onset of this condition? It's a very common question, right? What stress have we gone through? I don't feel that we can look at every life situation alone, because some of those are typically our life. But I do know that they're real, right? My mother fought breast cancer for 35 years. It started when I was 4. My stress response was very ongoing. I had actually considered it very natural. I still to this day have to really take deep breaths and understand that that is not natural. I don't always need to be fighting that bear. But hormones can disrupt the immune regulation of the body and worsen autoimmune systems. We have to focus on stress management. All right, the deep breathing, the yoga, the meditation. We have to focus on adequate sleep. I have a sleep webinar that I love talking about, and I go through everything that can help you sleep, all the way from the temperature of your room, having plants in your room, sleeping naked, having sex, everything from the hours of sleep. Like, your hormones really, really need you to sleep between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So emphasizing the importance of all of that. If you haven't seen that, if you are a member, it is in your membership portal. If you are not a member, I don't know if it's in this group, but if it's not, I can send you a link to the YouTube of it. So I can send you a link to the replay. So it is just a phenomenal workshop on how to help you increase sleep. All right, a balanced diet comes back to nutrition, right? And what we put into our food. And then seeking help. Okay. Sometimes we have to get our hormones tested, find out exactly where we are. Do we have high levels of testosterone? Do we have high levels of estrogen? Do we need progesterone? Where do we need to balance that out? So, having that overall holistic self-care mindset of looking at your holistic approach to wellness, your detoxification, your liver health, your digestive health, your hormone balancing, all these pieces are interconnected. It's like a spider web, right? It's all interconnected. In the middle of that spider web and all this interconnection, I really feel that gut health is right in the middle, guys. You are not going to balance hormones without focusing on gut health and really getting to the root of what's going on in your body. So we've tackled this in a program that I like. This is my Revive and Restore program. Whether you're Revive and Restore from celiac disease, from autoimmune conditions, that Revive and Restore program is so critical to where we actually do some testing with your body to see exactly what's going on. It can be food, it can be hormones, it can be both. And then really looking at every functional aspect that we have spoken on this week. If you want to hop on a connect call with me, I would love to connect with you one-on-one and see what's going on in the body. I know several of you have commented this week about what your struggles are. And I've commented back, like if you're not able to eat anything, you know, looking at pollen, looking at leaky gut, looking at those overreactive immune responses that oftentimes exacerbate our allergy symptoms. And if it's a lot of foods, looking at an oral allergy component, sometimes just when foods from that are, you know, are pollinated or anywhere around that hit our oral and in our mouth, then it can have an oral allergy response. Okay, so we will we focus on all of those, but I would love to hear exactly what's going on with you. Love if you feel that you have, you know, any of those liver and gallbladder issues, because we go through the individual lab reviews and the food sensitivities and the personalized meal plans and the detoxification protocols of both of the liver, the gallbladder, the skin, cellular detoxification, and look at nutrient absorption of vitamins and minerals. We do all of this in that Revive and Restore program. Whether you feel it's for you or not, book that connect call. Let's really get on the phone. I'd love to hear what's going on with you. A lot of people just get value. Well, I do. I'm going to serve. I love to serve. I love to talk. I love people, and I just give a lot of value in those conversations. I say 20 minutes. Usually they, you know, 20 to 30, 40, but we really get to know one another during that point and can chit chat and just say hello. But I have enjoyed spending this time with you. Okay, I'm not finished. There is a bonus tomorrow. If you have time on Saturday morning, I know it's tough, but Saturday morning, 9 o'clock tomorrow, I've got a bonus for you where we're going to go through 3 days of done for you meals. Okay. Done for you meal plan that focuses on autoimmune conditions, celiac, and mast cell, because those have been the 3 critical areas that we've discussed this week. So join me tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Time, and I will provide the strategies for meal planning around these dietary needs and strategies to combat your struggles. Okay. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you have as well. It's just been a very fun, compact week, and have a wonderful evening.